Please adhere to YouTube's selected guidelines before viewing the content of this video. I do not encourage or condone any products, actions, or behaviors shown in this video. All videos are produced in a safe, professional, and controlled environment. Please do not attempt to replicate any actions performed during the video. All actions are performed by professionals.
Hello. Today, I'm going to be giving y'all a full tour of my knife collection as an American. I'm not an expert on knives by any means, and my knife collection is not the largest by any means either. Nonetheless, though, I am still more proud than not of the knife collection that I have grown throughout the years. And so as such, I figured, hey, why not showcase my collection live on video and see what y'all think of the knives I have as well. And so as such, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing today. Today, I'm going to be showcasing 15, 16, 17 different knives roughly. I have around about 15 knives in this box right here, along with 2 knives outside of the box. And I think I'm probably going to go ahead and start with both of the knives that I have outside the box. So let's go ahead and start with the knife that I carry on me every single day. My everyday carry knife is this knife right here. It's a Kershaw 1620 FL, also known as a Kershaw Scallion, designed by Ken Onion. We can see it's got a lock right here. Just undoing that lock and just pressing the button right here, we can indeed see that this is a spring assisted knife. It is not a button knife. Those are illegal in my local area. This is instead a spring assisted knife, which is 100% legal to carry on your person in my local area. And I think this knife is absolutely gorgeous. I love the finish. I love the design. It fits insanely well in my hand. It is just about the perfect size for me. It's really comfortable in my pocket. I am a huge fan of this knife, and it is my everyday carry knife as of this moment in time. And I have not found a single other knife that I would much rather carry other than this knife, in all honesty. I will acknowledge I do need to sharpen this knife just a little bit. I have used it a little bit more so than not over just about the last year and a half I've owned it. But once it's all sharpened again, I'm thinking it'll be working all properly. Either way though, even with it being a little bit duller than not, I continue carrying it on me every single day, and I am a huge fan of this knife, to say the least. Let's just go ahead and just take a look at it one more time. I do need to clean it just a little bit as well, but it is a gorgeous looking knife in my personal opinion, and I love it very, very, very much. This is my everyday carry knife right here. Let's go ahead and just fold that back up just like that. Go and put the lock back on just so it doesn't open in my pocket or anything like that kind of thing. And let's go ahead and just put that back in my pocket. As said, I have one other knife outside the box I have with me today to show y'all. And the reason why the first knife I showed y'all, my everyday carry knife I just showed y'all, wasn't inside the box is because, well, I carry it every day. The reason why the next knife is outside the box is because it's too big to fit inside the box. The next knife I'm going to be showing y'all is an AK-47 Type 2 bayonet that I bought when I was in middle school at a knife show. And I really, really, really like this knife. It is by far the largest knife that I own, and I cannot carry it on my person in the state where I live. It is not legal to do so if I am remembering correctly. At least I could very well be wrong though. But yes, this is an AK-47 Type 2 bayonet. I don't know where it was made. This is just some cheapy AK-47 Type 2 bayonet that I got for like 10, 15 bucks around about probably 8, 9 years ago now. It's pretty beat, as we can see. I've never tried restoring this bayonet by any means. I've never even tried getting all the grease and oil off of it or anything like that kind of thing. I don't even have anything I can connect this bayonet to, in all honesty, but it is one of my absolute favorite knives just because it's an AK-47 Type 2 bayonet, and I think that is badass, frankly put. I think it's really, really, really cool. I really like it. I never really ever use it, but I just really like having it and then like just whipping it out and stuff like that kind of thing. And people are like, what the hell is that? That's what is that? And I'm like, it's an AK-47 Type 2 bayonet. And they're like, what? And I think it's pretty amusing, I'll admit. I really like this knife, and it is, I gotta admit, one of my absolute favorites I own, probably in my top 5 in all honesty. I'm gonna go and put this back in its sheath just like that. And one thing I am just now noticing that I've never actually noticed before, there are some numbers right there that reads AH940. I don't know if those are like the initials of the person, or sorry, AH9407. That's actually what it says. I've never noticed that before. It's pretty obvious. I've never really looked at this knife in too much detail before. I've just kind of whipped it out and kind of just messed with it and everything like that kind of thing. But there's actually some text on it, and I've never noticed that text before. That is pretty cool if I do say so myself. I think y'all can see in the lighting where I'm showcasing it right now, but yeah, I think this knife looks really cool. Got a button on this side to kind of disconnect it from the top of the gun and everything like that kind of thing. I love it. I love this knife, my AK-47 Type 2 bayonet. Almost put it the wrong way in the sheath. Let's go and put it in the correct way. And now I do think it's time for me to go ahead and grab my box I've got right here that is chocked full of knives. I've got around about 15 knives in this box, if I am remembering correctly. Some of which are duplicates, I will acknowledge, but some of which are not. Let's go ahead and get this box all opened up just like that, and we can see inside my box I have a couple more knives than not. Let's go ahead and see if I can grab myself a little bit of a screenshot real quick for the thumbnail of this video. Let's see if I can do that. Oh. Well, hopefully that will do as a screenshot, and hopefully y'all were able to get a better look at some of the knives inside this box. Where do I want to start? I think I'm gonna start with, I think I'm gonna start with the knife I carried when I was a lot younger, when I was in elementary and middle school and stuff like that kind of thing. I think I'm probably gonna go ahead and start with that knife, in all honesty. When I was in elementary and middle school and stuff like that, I think I got my first knife when I was probably 6 or 7 or something like that kind of thing. It's bought by my parents, and they wanted me to get into like whittling and stuff like that kind of thing. I was in like Cub Scouts at the time, so they wanted me to try to figure out how to whittle and make tinder and stuff like that kind of thing to start fires. So they got me a knife, and the first knife I ever had was like some cheapy $2 Walmart knife. I lost that knife, I'm pretty sure. I still have another one of those somewhere around. I don't know exactly where that knife is, in all honesty. But the second or third knife that they got me was this one right here, which is a Winchester, just a little folding knife, not spring assisted or anything like that kind of thing, but it's just a stainless steel Winchester knife that I think was like $5 at Walmart or something like that kind of thing. And this was my daily carry for quite a while, in all honesty. Whenever I was not in school, in high school, and I wanted to carry a knife, this was the knife that I carried. And I really, really, really like it. I think it's got a very nice design. I really like all the holes in it and everything like that kind of thing. And I remember looking at this knife when compared to like some other $5 knives, and I was like, why was this one $5? Like, this is such a good knife for $5. And it really is, in my personal opinion. I have no idea if they still sell this knife anymore, but I really, really, really like this knife. It worked really well for me when I was younger, like making like little sticks and stuff like that kind of thing, making like tinder for fires and stuff like that kind of thing. And it's a great knife, and I really, really, really like it. I need to sharpen it. I've never really sharpened any knives, in all honesty, so I really should do that. But I'm a fan of this knife, and I'm very glad that I own it, and I'm very glad that I never lost it, I will readily acknowledge. We can see that this knife has been used a little bit more so than not by the wear on the what is this, the pocket holder right here. It's all scratched up and everything like that kind of thing. And yeah, this is pretty worn. This is pretty worn, I ain't gonna lie, y'all, but I'm a huge fan of this knife, and I have a lot of good memories with it, and I'm very glad, very thankful that I still own it today. That's the third knife that I wanted to show y'all. Let's go and get my box all opened up once again, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab, one of my more recent knives that I really like. The next knife I want to show y'all is a Milwaukee knife, in specific a 48-22-1521. This is not a flipper. However, you can kind of poke it out just a little bit and just flick it just like that if you really want to. And I think that this is a very nice looking utility knife. It's one of my beater knives right now. It is extremely dull though, so I do need to sharpen it. But I got this knife for $5 used, I want to say. I think this is normally like 10, 15 bucks new or something like that kind of thing. But no, it's a good knife. It's a nice little beater knife, and I just kind of use it to do whatever I don't want to use my knife my knife. I just kind of use this knife whenever I don't want to use my nicer EDC knife if I'm at home and stuff like that kind of thing. Like if I'm trying to get like grease out of something or anything like that kind of thing and I need to use a knife, then I use this one and I just throw it in the sink and I wash it off because I don't care about this knife. It cost me $5, but I really enjoy using it and it's very comfy. I gotta admit, it fits in my hand very well, and it is a bit bulky in my pocket, I'll acknowledge. That's one of the reasons why I don't use this as my EDC knife, but you know, it's a good beater knife, and it was 100% worth the $5 I paid, I will readily acknowledge. Moving on from this knife, we have... Ooh, do I want to go over another knife real quick, or do I want to cover... Ooh, some of the multi-tools I got? Because I do have a multi-tool or two. I think I'm going to cover probably my least favorite multi-tool I own first, which is... I hate to say it, a Leatherman. In specific, a Leatherman bolster that I got for, I want to say, like $13 USD. How do I get this thing opened again? It's been a while since I used it. We can see it's a little bit spring assisted with the grips, which I really like. That's something I'm a big fan of. And, you know, it's just a Leatherman. It works pretty good kind of thing. It's not the smallest Leatherman in the world, but it works well. It's good quality. It's a Leatherman. I don't like using this, though, just frankly put, because I absolutely hate trying to get like all of the different tools out of this area. It's just not comfortable for my hands or anything like that. Like I've always struggled getting the tools out of like Swiss Army knives and Leatherman and stuff like that kind of thing. And I really struggle with this one as well. Like these really are just a pair of pliers to me. They do have a knife in them, but it's really, in all honesty, just a pair of pliers to me, just simply because honestly, I can't get the knife out just with my fingers in any comfortable sense. It's just really not comfortable for me to do so. And this is probably my least favorite multi-tool in all honesty, just because I just can't get the tools out. It's not a multi-tool to me. It's a pair of pliers in all honesty. But you know, this is a Leatherman bolster. I don't regret buying it because I learned what I do and don't like with this multi-tool quite a bit. I learned that I don't like having multi-tools where I struggle to get the actual tools out of, I'll admit, y'all. But I am still very glad that I purchased this, and I do think it looks pretty nice, I will readily acknowledge. That is the fourth, oh no, sorry. Yeah, no, fourth. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, no, fifth. That is the fifth knife that I have to showcase today. Leatherman bolster. As I said, I think I got it for like 12, 13 bucks or something like that kind of thing. I think the next thing I want to show y'all, probably another multi-tool, because I do have a duplicate or two of the Gerber Suspension NXT, which is, as of this moment in time, my absolute favorite multi-tool to use. Opening it up, we can see once again spring assisted and everything like that kind of thing, but we can see the knives, they're all kind of down here, and they are so much easier to get out. We can see there's that right there, there's the knife right here, and it's just so much easier to get out. I love this Gerber Suspension NXT, and I didn't even know Gerber really made like multi-tools and stuff until very recently. I'll be honest with you, I thought they just made knives. But yeah, the Gerber Suspension NXT, it's fantastic. I own, no joke, like 3 or 4 of these. I have another one in my box right here. I have another one in my backpack right next to me over there. And I have another one in my car as well. I own, no joke, like 4 of these. I got them all for like 10, 12 bucks USD used, and they're great. I'm a big fan of the Gerber Suspension NXT. I personally would not pay retail, as I am a lot cheaper than not, but I would have to say the Gerber Suspension NXT is most certainly my favorite multi-tool right now. I love how easy it is to get all the different tools out of the arm and everything like that kind of thing, unlike the Leatherman I just showed y'all, which is kind of a pain in all honesty. It just feels very nice in my hand as well, very easy to use, fits very well in my pocket if I want to put it in my pocket, although I don't normally do that. I just tend to just leave it in my backpack because it is a bit heavier than that. It's a multi-tool after all, but good stuff. Good stuff. Very glad to own a bunch of Gerber suspension NXTs, let me tell y'all what. What do I want to go over next? We've gone over, a couple different multi-tools in the last minute, and I think I'm just going to go and finish off my multi-tool collection with, I think I'm going to start with this one. I don't even know really what this is. I know it's made by Zippo. I don't know the model name, though. This was a gift from one of my parents. And this is a Zippo, like, survival knife or something like that kind of thing. Like, there's, like, sort of like a grate right here, so you can, like, grate, like, wood onto it to make, like, tinder, I think. And then there's, like, a knife. Oh, let's see if I can get it out. This, kind of hard to get out as well. But there's a knife as well. Just like that, as we can see. This is basically, from what I can tell, just Zippo trying to do the whole Swiss Army knife thing and everything like that kind of thing. It's a pretty cool little sort of knife and everything like that. I personally wouldn't take it camping, as I'll acknowledge it's just not something I would really use all that much. But I like it nonetheless, and I think it's something that's very cool to kind of show off. It's a knife. It's a knife talking piece. It's a nice talking piece. It's a Zippo knife, and I think that's pretty interesting if you ask me, at least. And I think, does this bit lit up? Does this bit lit up? Does this bit lift up? It does. And under that, there is a little bit of a striker. I don't know how to get that out of there, but there's a little bit of a striker right there that you can use to, like, strike and start fires and everything like that kind of thing. So, you know, this is basically like a Zippo survival knife, from what I know, at least. I think this cost one of my parents like $6 or $7 used or something like that kind of thing. And hey, banger deal. Pretty cool talking piece in my personal opinion. Let's go ahead and go over the next multi-tool I've got, though, which is probably the rarest multi-tool I own. Once again, bought used, and I think it was bought for like $15. It's the smallest multi-tool I own, and it is a Leatherman squirt. Supreme. Yes, this, from what I can tell at least, is a legit Supreme Leatherman squirt multi-tool. It is extremely small, and this was bought used. It's spring assisted, as we can see, and in all honesty, I have never really used this before. I got it as a gift from one of my parents, and I put it in the box, and I have never really used it, but I mean, like, it's pretty cool, and it's kind of a flex to have because it's Supreme branded, and obviously the previous owner used it a lot more than me because it is a little bit beat up, I will readily acknowledge. But, you know, very, very, very cool. Leatherman squirt. I maybe should try to use this a little bit more in the future. I just haven't bothered to use it as of this moment in time. But Supreme Leatherman squirt, certainly no complaints on my behalf. That is for sure. Let's go and put that down on the table as well. And let's go ahead and cover... Ooh, what do I want to cover first? I think I'm going to cover the... There we go. I think it's this one. And then, yeah, that one is a little bit different. Okay. So I've got a bunch of the style of knives I'm about to show y'all from the same company, same sort of like product line and everything like that kind of thing. I've got a bunch of them. They're one of the knives where I have like a bunch of them I bought for like $8, so I've just kind of thrown them everywhere, so I don't know exactly where all of them are, but I have 2 of them to show today. And this one is a... That's embarrassing. Got caught on my sleeve. This is a CRKT M1601KS. And, you know, I think it looks pretty nice. I initially got this specific knife as a gift, and this was my daily carry knife up until the point where I got the knife I showed y'all first thing in the video, my Kershaw 1620FL, the Kershaw Scallion to be precise. This was my daily carry knife in between this knife and my Kershaw. And I really, really, really like the CRKT M16 series of knives. I think they're very cool. They don't have springs in them by any means. They are not spring assisted, that is for sure. However, you can still flick them, flick the wrist type thing. It's not really working super well with this knife today. I'm trying to get a good There we go. Got a decent flip on that one. So it's pretty easy to open. You can open it with one hand, and that's something I really like. I will readily acknowledge. And it's just a great daily knife in my purse, but that fits quite well in my hand. Not quite as well as something like, let's say, the Kershaw I carry these days, but it still fits in my hand really well, and it's still something that I do like a little bit more so than not. And it looks pretty nice in my personal opinion as well. Let's just go and just take a look at it just like that. Fits in my pocket pretty well as well in my personal opinion. And yeah, that's my Kershaw M1601KS to be precise. I also own, and I got this one used, I also own a CRKT M1610KS. So let's see if I can get this one opened up. There we go, just like that. We can see the end of this knife is just a little bit different. It's not quite rounded off. It does kind of come to an angle and then to a point just like that. But it looks very, very, very similar. This one definitely been used a little bit less. I got this one for, I think, 10 bucks. And it's a great knife in all honesty. I like it quite a bit. I used this a couple times and then I threw it in the box it's in because I got my Kershaw and whatnot instead. But it's a good knife, and, you know, if I ever felt like going back to it, I certainly wouldn't mind. Feels pretty knife, I keep saying feels pretty knife in the hand. It feels pretty good in the hand, I'll acknowledge, y'all. But, yeah, that's another knife I own. I like it quite a bit. Fold that up, and let's go ahead and now cover, I think probably the two cheapest knives that I own. What's this knife? This is a Gerber 4660321A. I own two of these knives right here. They're both exactly the same. There's no differences between the two of them, and I got them both for like $3 USD. They're not flippers. You can't even really open them super well with one hand. I mean, like, you kind of can. Like, let's just go ahead and do that real quick. Like, you can open them with one hand, but it's not really the most comfortable to do so, especially when compared to, like, let's say my Kershaw or the CRKTs or something like that kind of thing. But it's just a good cheapy beater knife that I bought to just kind of have a knife to just kind of throw around and leave places and stuff like that kind of thing. Like, a knife to put in my car. I need a knife. I don't care what kind of knife it is, but I just need a knife at that point in time, so I just leave a knife in my car, and this is kind of the kind of knife I just leave in my car kind of thing. I think I own, like, another one of these I've left somewhere, but I don't remember where I put it. But good knife, works well, comfortable in the hand, very cheap enough for me to not care about, and it's pretty great. And as said, I don't own just one of these, I own two. Let's go ahead and dual wield just real quick. Yep, dual wielding some knives today, certainly no complaints on my behalf. Good stuff. I really like these knives, and I would definitely buy another one for $3 again. I don't know if I'd buy one of these for 10 bucks, but I definitely buy another one for like $3. I got both these knives used. In fact, I got most of the knives I'm showing y'all today used, as I think I have said previously. Let's go ahead and fold both of those back up and put them down on the table I'm sitting at right now. And I think before I go ahead and move on to the next 4 knives I have, I've got 4 knives remaining in this. I think I am... Oh, which one do I want to show y'all first? I think I'm going to go for, this one. This, I don't know what it is in all honesty. We can see orange hilt, a little bit of a silver sort of pocket thing right there. And we can see it's a flipper. And it has a very, very, very thin blade. I honestly have no idea what brand this is. We can see there's some logo right there. I don't know what brand this is, though. This was a gift from one of my parents. My dad saw this knife used, and he picked it up for me for, I think, like $8 to $10 or something like that kind of thing. After I mentioned I really like the look of, like, really thin, long knives. I mentioned, I was like, it's not something I really want to carry every day, but I think they just look pretty cool. And he spotted this, and he was like, I think he might appreciate it. And, well, I do appreciate it. Thank you very much to my dad for having been kind enough to give me this knife. I really do like it. And it flips out very, very, very easily, and it's just pretty solid as a whole in my personal opinion. A little bit more dull than not, definitely could be sharpened, I'll acknowledge, but pretty solid if you ask me. Looks pretty cool, and it's gonna be hard to lose with the hilt color, this color, let me tell y'all what. Let's go and close this back up now, and let's go ahead and take a look at the next knife, which is a very similar style to the last knife I just showed y'all. The next knife I have is a CRKT CEO, if I am remembering correctly. Let's just go ahead and see if I can get this one all opened up. Just like that. And yes, this is a CRKT CEO, as we can see. Just says Rogers Design right there. This is the 7096 to be precise. Got a very nice sort of faux carbon fiber hilt in my personal opinion, and looks pretty good as a whole. Very nice, long, slender knife. Very much a similar style to this last knife as well. But I'd have to say a little bit heavier, a little bit higher quality, and just probably a little bit better looking as a whole, and just a little bit more. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart in my hands. I'll admit this knife, it doesn't really scream quality to me, frankly put, but I don't really mind. It looks pretty cool. This, on the other hand, is a little bit more quality in my personal opinion, and this is, for me at least, very much a business casual knife. I mean, like you're at the you're at an office meeting or something like that kind of thing, and somebody's like, "Yo, I need to open up this Amazon package. I need a knife." You hand them this thing. Actually, that's probably a bad idea. Don't hand anybody any knives in the workplace. That's a really bad idea. But let's just say theoretically you work at a knife company and somebody needs to open up a package with a knife, and somehow they don't have a knife on them, and knives are allowed at your carry at your work. Pull this one out and open it for them and everything like that kind of thing, and it looks pretty good. It's very much a business casual knife and everything like that kind of thing. Now, one problem with this knife is that the tip is broken off, as we can see, but that's not a big deal by any means, because this knife was bought used for like 10 bucks, so who really cares, frankly put. But let's go ahead and close this one back up. I really do need to clean this one though, because it is a little bit grimy on the inside, I will acknowledge. But let's go ahead and put that down at the table, or on the table, and let's go and take a look at the last two knives I have. Now, the first knife I showed y'all was indeed a Kershaw, of course, and so I figured it'd be fitting for the last two knives I show y'all to be Kershaws as well. The first one I have with me is a Kershaw. What is this? I don't even know the name of this. I got this one used. I don't know the name of it, but it is another spring-assisted knife, as we can see. And it's got a sort of ashy, sort of black-gray sort of blade itself, with a very nice, just sort of gunmetal sort of hilt, or just sheath. I don't really know what this is called, in all honesty. I'm not a knife expert by any means. The spring is a little bit too tough for me. It needs to be broken in just a little bit, I'll acknowledge, but this knife works pretty good. As we can see, it's a Kershaw, and in specific, this is a Kershaw 1365. And, you know, it looks pretty solid. It fits in my hand pretty well. It's not quite as comfortable in my hand as the Kershaw Scallion, that is my EDC knife, but I really like the fact that this is spring assisted, and I also really like the fact as well that this was only like $12. So I really cannot complain, in all honesty. It's comfy, it's a good beater knife, and I like it quite a bit, and it looks pretty good in my personal opinion. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. Let's go and close this knife back up as well. And let's go ahead and cover the final knife I have with me today, which is, I would have to say, probably my second favorite knife I own these days. I wanted to save my second favorite knife till last. So, what is this knife? Well, it's another Kershaw, and in specific, it's another Ken Onion design. This is a Kershaw 1660, which I believe is the Kershaw leak, if I remember correctly. We can see it just says Kershaw right there. We can see it just says Ken Onion design right there. And we can see that this is a bit longer and a bit bigger than my EDC knife I carry with me today. Let's take a look at them side by side just real quick. Get both of them opened up and out, and we can see, yeah, this one is definitely a bit thinner, it's a bit longer, and it's just a bit more pokey, whereas this one is just a bit more bulky looking, in my personal opinion. I think both of them look fantastic though, but when it comes to personal preference for looks, I personally prefer my EDC knife, I'll readily acknowledge. However, this knife still looks fantastic. I think it is a beautiful knife. I really like the shade of the blade, the shade of the metal down here as well. I have carried this knife once or twice as an EDC knife, and it's pretty comfy in my pocket as well. Feels really nice in my hand, and I like it in general quite a bit. I'll readily acknowledge. I think this is a pretty nice knife, and it was well worth the $16 used I paid for it. So certainly no complaints on my behalf, that is for sure. It's a pretty solid knife, if you ask me, and it's basically my backup knife for if I ever lose my current EDC knife. If I ever lose this knife, this is the knife I'm going to be moving to, and I'd have to say it is my second favorite knife as of this point in time. Let's go ahead and get it all folded back up and go ahead and put the safety back on. And let's go ahead and do the same for my EDC knife. Of course, got to put the safety on, don't want it opening randomly or anything like that kind of thing. And I think before I go ahead and end this video, I want to talk about what my top 5 knives in my collection are. So I'm going to exclude any multi-tools from this just in general, just because top 5 knives, not top 5 knives and multi-tools. But I'm thinking my first favorite knife all time gotta be Kershaw Scallion. Second favorite knife of all time gotta be Kershaw Leek. Those are my top 2 knives right there. Number 3, I'm thinking, is probably my AK-47 Type 2 Bayonet. Number 4, ooh, that's a bit harder. I'll acknowledge that is a bit harder, but probably the, I'm thinking M1601KS. This knife, I grabbed the wrong one. They look pretty similar. I grabbed the wrong one. Number 4 is probably this knife, though, the CRKT M1601KS. So I'd have to say is probably my 4th favorite knife of all time. And then I'd have to say probably my 5th favorite, just for nostalgia and memory's sake, gotta be the Winchester knife I have right here. So those are my top 5 favorite knives. Kershaw Scallion, Kershaw Leek, AK-47 Type 2 Bayonet, CRKT M1601KS, and this random Winchester knife that I had and used quite a bit when I was a kid. Those are my top 5 knives, and that has been the entirety, well, not quite the entirety of, but most of my knife collection. I have a couple other knives scattered around. Most of them are duplicates to what y'all saw in this collection, I'll admit, y'all. I do have 1 or 2 knives that I don't know where they are, and I don't have a duplicate of them in my box or in the collection I showed y'all today. But most of the knives I do have scattered around, they are duplicates of what I already have here. I think I have, probably 2 more of these, plus this one, so I have like 4 of these in total. I know I have like another 2 of these Gerber suspension NXTs. I think I have another 1 of these, and then I also have 1 or 2 like just cheapy like $2 Walmart knives that I had when I was probably like 12 or 13 or something like that kind of thing. So yeah, this is not my complete collection by any means. I couldn't find my entire collection, but this is the vast majority of it. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of my knife collection. Do you guys like it? Do you guys not? Let me know in the comments down below. What's y'all's favorite knife in my collection? What knife would you personally pick if you had to pick just 1 knife to keep from my collection? Let me know in the comments down below, and let me know just what you guys think of my knife collection as an American as a whole. Hope I didn't flex too much on y'all over in the UK. My condolences about y'all's knife laws. Thank you so much for watching this video, y'all. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video today where I showcased my knife collection. If you guys have enjoyed watching this video, of course, please make sure to like and subscribe for more content. I have my Instagram, my book, my merch, my P.O. Box, and my other channels all in the description down below. Go check them all out. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, y'all. Till the next one, stay safe in peace and have a great one. Yes, sir, you know what I'm saying?